We are back. We've had a bit of a layoff. I've had some issues getting things uploaded to YouTube, but we're going to get this one going. So I'm excited to see you comments out there this week. George, how you feeling?
Feeling good, Rick. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. There was some good football this weekend.
Yes, there was. Doesn't get much better than that.
It doesn't. And if our show from last week had been loaded, people would know that you called both games and I had squat. So good on George. Good on George. Credit where credit's due. So luckily, I don't think did we place a firm bet on that? I don't feel like I think we're just going to do a Super Bowl bet this week. So we'll get to that. Then we've got some additional bonus footage for you. We're in a fantasy hockey league together. This is my first time doing fantasy hockey. So we're going to flip the script a little bit. George is going to turn host. And we're going to go over what I did first ever fantasy hockey draft. So this should be a fun week. Let's start right out of the gates. Last week's games. I thought the Bills were going to be more competitive and really they jumped out to a hot start. It's 9-0. And then things really got ugly for them quickly after that. Just too much, Kansas City offense.
Too much. Yeah. I think I said last week, or I might just be giving myself credit for being able to be on top of this. Thought I said last week that the talent, so Kelsey and Tyreek Hill, far superior on the Chiefs than anybody like Stephon Diggs or anybody else that you can actually put together on the Bills offense. So nothing against them, but nothing against the Bills, because I think they're like one or two pieces, and they could be small pieces, but one or two pieces, maybe running back, shore up the running back a little bit better. One or two pieces away from surpassing the Chiefs, but I just didn't feel like this was the year.
Yeah, it didn't work out for them. They played really soft on their coverage, and that hurt them severely. You saw Hardman blow up in that, it was a 50-yard run because everybody turned their back. And when you have an end around going for 50 yards like that, you're obviously your coverages aren't there. Everybody's just running backwards. Kelsey was just wide open over the middle a lot. And you just can't, for generational talents like that, a future Hall of Fame tight end, you can't just let him run free over the middle,
No, not at all. Yeah, what do you have, like 160 yards and 2 touchdowns or so?
Yeah, I mean, he was an animal, and I think he had like 17 catches or something. It's just insane day for him. And I mean, realistically, I know I called the Bills. It was always going to be a stretch. It was always going to be they were going to have to play a perfect game. And the reality is I think you hit the nail on the head. They've got to shore up that running back spot a little bit better so that they can keep teams off the field. And they just weren't able to run clock, run the ball, you know what I mean, make the Kansas City defense tired and ultimately, stay on the field long enough to keep. I mean, if Mahomes is out there, he's going to hurt you.
Yeah, and the funny part is that Josh Allen is by far their best running back on the team. But so that doesn't give them. You see teams like the Ravens, although albeit they're not as good as the Bills at the moment, they still have it so that Lamar Jackson's so dangerous that he makes the other running backs and he makes the other people that much more effective because they don't know where it's going to be coming from. There's other examples of that, like Taysom Hill, maybe in Kamara to a lesser extent, but the Bills just don't have that right now. They just know that it's either going to be Josh Allen running it or a pass. So they definitely need to get something going there.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of you're not wrong. So that's pretty accurate. Let's move to the other side. And what was definitely a bit of a back and forther. It looked like the Bucks had gotten out. They got that 2-score lead in the fourth quarter, and you felt like, okay, like they're going to go away with this one, and Green Bay made a game of it. Had some odd scoring there, but I thought it was a little. And I said this to you off air. I felt like they were letting them play in that game. That was an obvious grab of the jersey at the end of the game there. I didn't like the call, though, in that situation. And I'm not a guy where you say, oh, it's the end of the game, let them play. But they let them play all game. So I didn't love that call. And I could see where the Green Bay fans, team, etc., might feel aggrieved. But, George,
Yeah.
walk me through this. Why are you kicking a field goal when you have it on the 8-yard line?
So my explanation that I heard is, and this is probably you're like, well, duh, you're like, I know why he what did it, but supposedly because of the fact that they weren't able to they weren't able to advance the ball the last uh, three downs, and they had all of their timeouts. They put it on their defense to make it stop. With I think it was just before a 2-minute warning. But you're right. Like it's not an easy call one way or the other. And if he would have gotten stopped on the the foot, just maybe think about it that way. If like they got stopped on like the 2-yard line, like would we be bitching about the coach then too? So it was a tough call either way. I see the way that I see what he was trying to accomplish with it. But yeah, like I probably would have went for it, but who am I?
I think you're not wrong. I think you have to go for it in that scenario. But I think the play call that led up to that was also a problem for me. Like they got inside the 10-yard line, first and goal at the whatever, and they never attempted to run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a talent, and I get it. Like Tampa Bay's got a stout defense, but like you kind of get what you deserve in some of those scenarios too.
Yeah, I mean, I do recall that the Packers, I think their running back had no more than like 20 yards for the game or 25 yards, 27 yards exactly, but only on 6 carries. So to your point, they really abandoned the run um, pretty quickly there. They were averaging about 4 yards per run. So it doesn't really make sense that they abandoned it completely. So yeah, I mean, we're going to be going back and looking at that game. Could be Aaron Rodgers' last game, last chance at the championship. I believe the
With
last time he made it to the
with the
Super Bowl
Packers.
was with the Packers. Yeah, I believe the last time he went to the Super Bowl was about 10 years ago at this point. So
What if I'm not mistaken? He's 1-7 in the NFC title games. They made it to one time and they beat the Steelers. Little known
I,
fact: I got really, really, really hammered during that Super Bowl. So that was right
fun
before I moved
fact.
out here to Arizona. Fun fact: I got hammered at that Super Bowl. Not at it, but during it. Rumpleman's never a good idea. So as we look forward, let's jump to the Super Bowl. So we got a little less than just about 10 days away now. Light favorites, right, with Kansas City. The game's in Tampa, right? So we have that going. That's another different scenario altogether. So we kind of need to understand then what are our, what do you think is the big keys to this game?
So key to the game certainly is going to be experience. I think Tom Brady, you know, for just even though Patrick Mahomes went all the way last year, I think experience is going to come up really big here. Um, so I think he really gets that notch. As far as the amount of weapons, I think that also goes to the Bucks, just because they have so many different really good quality receivers.
Hmm.
They have a good back in Fournette. Maybe Ronald Jones is going to be healthy by that at that point. So um, defense is going to be a big factor. I think Bucks definitely have a better defense than the Chiefs. So
I
I
don't know.
think
So I think you're right about the defense. I have to give offensively. Listen, I know experience wise, Tom Brady is the GOAT, but he's not the GOAT now. And Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback we have in the league now. So I think, right, if I'm looking, and it's hard to say in a Super Bowl that you're not taking Tom Brady, but Eli Manning beat Tom Brady twice too. So like, let's just, the reality is it can be done. So we'll put that there. I'm taking Mahomes. When I look at the weapons, yeah, they have a talented back, but Edwards-Helaire is talented. Williams has shown you he can be talented, and Le'Veon Bell's coming back. So there's some talented backs there in Kansas City. And I'm also, man, that like their wide receivers, with Tyreek Hill and I'll take Tyreek Hill and Kelsey all day long. And then you still have a pretty good supporting cast with Sammy Watkins and Mecole Hardman. Like they've got some weapons that can go out there and do some things, run around, and really, help Kansas City be dynamic on offense. Defensively, that it does concern you. I think in my mind, if the Bucs have a chance at winning this game, the key factor will be the Bucs being able to run the ball. They can run the ball strongly against that Kansas City defense, keep Mahomes off the field, control the clock, then they have a chance of winning. Other than that, I think it'll be very, very tough.
Yeah, I agree with that. I did not realize that Helaire is back to full health.
Yeah. So he's back. Scored a touchdown last week, if I'm not mistaken. So, which is rare for him this season. Who knew?
Oh yeah,
yeah. So, but yeah, I think that can be a bit of a difference maker for them as a team. All right. Well, let's put our Super Bowl bet down. Okay. Do you want to go double or nothing? Because I still owe you for the Taylor bet.
Yeah, let's go double or nothing. That sounds good to me.
Okay, doubling it. So you got a chance to double up on your energy drinks is what you want. So that's cool. I'll get you that full case if you win. Right? We talked about that offline. I'll get you that full case. We'll dominate that full case of the blue, whatever. You'll send me a link off Amazon,
Yep.
All right. So who you taking? I'll let you even have first pick.
I'm going Tampa.
You're going Tampa. You're taking TB12 and Tampa. Tom to get his 7th.
I can't see the only home game in Super Bowl history, Tom Brady losing that.
All right. Well, then I wanted, full disclosure, I wanted Kansas City. I like Kansas City. I think they're the more talented team in this case. Let's go. Let's stick at the AFC. Let's go Kansas City. And let's let this game be a really, really good game to finish off our season. So looking forward to that. George, give me a score.
Score.
Yeah.
I think.
And this has nothing to do with the bet, right? The bet's just, win, lose, but,
yeah, for sure. I'm going to go, I'll go 24-20, 24-28, in favor of the Bucs.
All right. I'm going to say it's going to be a higher scoring game. I'm going to go 38-31.
Woo. Okay.
Yeah. There's going to be some fireworks in this game.
Okay.
Fireworks. We've got two dynamic teams. I'm going to take the fireworks, and I'm going to take, I'm going to obviously take Kansas City. I'll tell you what, like part of the reason, like Kelsey is so dominant, and I just don't see, like, there's no, you can't guard him.
So what's going to be your score?
38-31.
38-31.
38.
Okay, 31. Then you should bet, because the over-under is 56.
The over-under on this game is only 56?
Yes.
Wow. Apparently I'm taking the high over.
Okay.
So
I
can't, unfortunately I live in Arizona, so FanDuel is not an option for me. But if it was, I would be betting the over.
Rats. Okay.
So, all right. Well, hey, I'll tell you what, my Super Bowl would be more fun to watch than you Super Bowl. You got to give me that much credit.
No, it will. Yeah, for sure. Like, just like last week, I wanted the Bills to win, but I didn't think they would. And in this same circumstance, I do kind of want the Chiefs to win.
I, I'll
Because
I'll tell you this: if your score, I think the score lines match up. Your score line favors a Tampa win,
mhm.
right? Like that 26-20. Like if that's the high score in the game, that's probably a Tampa win there. Kansas City definitely needs to go out there and make this into a run and gun shoot 'em up game. That's how this has
Yeah,
to. They need to put points on the board and do it quickly. And luckily, that's something they excel
yeah. For
at.
this to be like a shootout, it's going to definitely favor the Chiefs. They need to keep it like, relatively low scoring, and then the Bucks can like get it done just through like experience and just like grit.
For sure. All right, so let's switch the script here. George, you're
Flip
going to
it.
take over hosting duties. I've got my team pulled up, and you
Okay.
kind of asked me a few questions, but how do you, let's get this going. What do you what questions do you have for me as far as my fantasy hockey uh 2 weeks in
Uh huh.
goes? Right, 2 weeks in.
Yep.
I'm one
So
and one, by the way. I'm 1-1 for the people out there. I'm doing okay.
So M&M Nation, what happened was we love the fact that we have fantasy in our lives, especially with everything that's going on right now, and it's a nice little distraction for your boy Murdoch, as well as Mr. McCommon, I'm sure. So we wanted to be able to bring content, and we wanted to be able to have additional sports now that football is obviously wrapping up. I was able to get Mr. McCommon into a fantasy hockey league that I'm in, and so he was able to get into the draft. It's with a bunch of my other friends, and he had to take a sport that he really liked. Um, so I guess that's the first question, Rick. Like, what's it like to take a sport that you just like to watch, and then trying to figure out how that equates to fantasy, and like who did you find yourself picking people that maybe weren't your favorite to watch, but were people that you think were going to score higher?
So I'll tell you out of the gate, it's somewhat difficult because I didn't like I'm a huge Red Wings fan, so we'll start with that. And um I haven't paid attention to a league as far as hockey's gone for a while since I was probably and I always buy like the NHL package, watch it online NHL TV so I can watch games, but it's never been something that I've been able to like delve into that deep. And so trying to delve in pretty short notice on the season was tough. Luckily, so I have a tendency to just like pick players I like. And luckily, the Red Wings are very, very, or have been very, very bad. They're actually looking a little bit okay this year. So luckily, with that being the case, I didn't have to worry about it because like I just took some players as flyers at the end of the draft, so that worked out for me. Um, it was weird to just like it's also weird because like my mind tells me that like I know Ovechkin's still one of the top players out there, but like I haven't gotten used to watching some of these new kids that are out there. Like I was like, why is Sidney Crosby going so late? And I even text you during the draft. I missed one of the nuances. I didn't understand like why goalies were going in the second round. Like I was like, what's going on with this? Because all of a sudden goalies just started flying off the board. Luckily, I followed suit, so I got like a couple that are doing okay for me right now. But that was kind of like the scenario there.
That's awesome. Yeah, it does get a little bit problematic when it comes to that because I'm also in a fantasy basketball league, and I don't watch basketball that much, and it's I'm trying to think of the word for it. It is a auction league. There we go. Why couldn't I think of that? It's also an auction league, so I literally have to go buy the sheets that tells me exactly how much I should be paying for each player. Um, I ended up getting and I in that particular league, I ended up getting James Harden. He got traded to the Nets. I also have I also have Kyrie Irving, and I have a lot of the Nets players. So I have a lot of eggs in one basket there. So did you find yourself running into that situation where you have a lot of players on one particular team or division?
So I did a little bit, and it was completely incidental. I have quite a few Carolina players. I know I have quite a few Detroit players as well. Um, but I didn't like it wasn't on purpose. It was just one of those things where like I was just drafting, and at the end of the draft, I took like my last 2 or 3 picks were all Detroit players because again, it was just like, oh, I'll take a flyer on these guys because it doesn't matter. But it was funny to end up with quite a few. Like every time Carolina and Detroit play, I've got a lot of players going. And I didn't wasn't intentional, but so far it hasn't killed me yet. Other than I just didn't in my first week. I just didn't have a lot of games that actually got played by my teams. I had some issues with COVID and different things like that that kept me from being able to like have a pretty full lineup.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, and one of the things that we have in our league is we have a emphasis on defenders. So defenders actually get a half a point more every time they score an assist or a goal, as well as goalies. They get about I think about 3.5 points for a win, and about a point and a half off for a loss. So it really can make or break you. Which goalies you start, as well as if they win the game or not. So a lot of things to consider with fantasy hockey. Um, Definitely invite any of you that have friends that are interested in getting started with fantasy sports to do so. You don't have to be an absolute expert at it. Um, I'm not very good with basketball myself, but I'm usually fairly competitive just because of the way that I work the waiver, and I just follow some of the same general guidelines as I do in football, and it translates very well.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. It wasn't like some of it's just about being able to look at the sheets and say like, okay, well, how am I going to draft? So when I look at like how I drafted, um, you have a lot of players that can play multiple positions in hockey. And so because of that, like I looked at it and just said, okay, well, common sense is going to tell me, similar to baseball, if you ever played fantasy baseball, if I pick a guy that plays multiple positions, then I have more options to get him in the lineup when he's playing than I would otherwise, right? You're not just beholden to a center or a forward or, right or left winger or something like that. And so that was something that, like, going into it, I said, okay, I'm going to do this. It's not especially prevalent with defenders, right? But you see that. So I went through, and I can already tell you it's worked dividends for me because I have very few guys that are just a center or a right wing. They can play multiple positions. So as I'm filling up my lineup, it's just like, okay, this guy's playing, I can get him in somewhere. So I've had some success being able to do that and making sure that, because it seems to me the name of the game in fantasy hockey is getting people in your lineup, right? It's actually a little bit more quality or quantity over quality, right? If I have guys playing, I'm gonna score points. If I don't have guys playing, I'm not gonna score points.
Yeah, and it should be noted that we have it set up for this year. It's usually you lock the lineup in for the week, and then that's what you're going with. And to Rick's point, if you only have if Brady Kachuk has only got 2 games for the week, then you might start um, Malkin over him or what have you. Here we have it set up so that you can start 35 skaters a week because of COVID concerns, as well as up to 5 goalies. So it does benefit people that if you are into fantasy and you're into changing your lineup out and putting work into it, at least a couple of minutes, either every day or at the start of the week, just to make sure that you're maximizing those 35 skaters. That's going to set you ahead of, I want to say, about half the league, because half the league's not even going to worry about getting that done.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. The first week, like I said, was rough. The last week, I was the second highest scorer in the league, so I felt like, okay, pretty cool. Like I'm coming along. I'm making it happen. We're getting there. We're getting there. So, and then like you said, working the waiver wire, there are because of COVID again, there are a ton of just a ton of um, uh, IR slots. So I've been out there getting guys on IR, getting guys off waiver, like taking advantage of everything I can get, right? Bobby Ryan for the Wings started off really hot this year. So I went out, I took a flyer on him. He's been an all-star throughout his career. So there's, I'm in a great spot in a scenario that like he could end up being really strong for me this year. So we'll see what happens.
Awesome. So there you have it. You get the lowdown of what it takes to join another sports fantasy league, especially if you're a fan of that sport already. I'm here to tell you, don't even worry about that so much. Even if there's a sport where you're not that invested in it or just like in tune to it, you still have the ability to be very effective at playing fantasy in any of these sports. So go out there and have some fun, especially on these down months when football is done for the year.
Awesome. Well, there you have it. That's our look into our life and fantasy. I'm going to go turn on the Wings game tonight. Pretty excited. They're playing out in Dallas. So looking forward to it.
Looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing how my team performs this week in hockey. I am also pretty high up there. I think I have the most points scored so far, and
You
I'm
do.
2-0.
You're the top scorer in both weeks, Mr. Murdoch.
So we will see how that works out. It's a very long season,
It
but
is.
that sounds good to us. We'll see you guys after the Super Bowl for our thoughts on that. And any other parting words or thoughts there, Mr. Rick?
No, we'll be back after the Super Bowl to talk about our side bets and what we got going on. Thanks for watching, M&M Nation.
See you later.